I don't hear anything. All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. For the no Cap Brothers, you want to watch it on the YouTube or the Facebook channel, go ahead and watch it on there. But if you got any input, go ahead and log in on the StreamYard if you want to bring out some precepts. So we'll just give it a few more minutes because sometimes it take a minute for YouTube to send the algorithm out. But we know with this channel, we got to build up this no cap fully loaded channel because they don't have too many subscribers. But I didn't want to put it on the fully loaded. Street Wars. We got over 4,000 subscribers on Street Wars. I think this one got about 400 subscribers.
Amen. Not to Zach. You hear us loud and clear?
Yeah, let that brother in. He in
He's
there?
in. Yep.
Okay. Shalom, brothers. What's going on?
Shalom, shalom.
Yo, brothers, all right?
Khan. What about you, brothers?
Yeah, we doing good, man. We can't complain. We getting ready for these feast days. We're gonna bring out a couple precepts,
Khan, call hallelujah.
If brothers had any questions or something on the feast days, so y'all brothers got some precepts or whatever, hey, just bring them out, bro.
Khan.
We're gonna go ahead and get started because I know sometimes it take YouTube a minute to get the little center algorithm out or whatever. So, but we got that fully loaded, no cap, fully loaded channel. We mainly try to do the classes and build that up, but I think I got it going on Facebook too. So I guess we're gonna start at the beginning with all the feast days, but we're gonna briefly go into them, briefly, because it's too many precepts for every feast day. So we're just briefly going how we keep them or whatever. We're going in order. So first and foremost, we're gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Ba'ara Kadash. So we're gonna bring out this class going into the feast days, and the title of this lesson is "Upcoming Feast Days Should We Keep?" Because we got Israelites that say we have to keep the feast days. We got Christians say we don't have to keep the feast day. We got all kind of brothers say we don't have to keep certain feast days, or the feast days are done away with in the laws of Moses. So we just gonna go to the scriptures and let you be the judge, because we ain't gonna go either way. Because when we go either way, it's a controversy, but we don't give a damn in either way it go, So you just have to study on your own. Don't listen to me or listen to other brothers. Make sure y'all brothers do your own due diligent research on your own. Brothers should be researching these things on their own. Y'all go to a camp or a Christian church and they say don't do this or do this, y'all just automatically do it. Then 10 years from now, you say, I studied everything wrong. Now I got to restudy everything all over again. I got to change my whole perspective on the whole Bible. When you should have been doing that in the beginning. Because brothers become what it become. Brothers become followers of men. Don't be a follower of a man. Don't follow me. I don't tell nobody follow me. Do your research. If I'm going off, we got a whole panel of brothers to say, hey, brother, that scripture was read wrong or this was broke down wrong. And hey, all of us take correction. Ain't no man bigger than Yahweh Shah. All that pride and stuff is out the window. So let's go to Leviticus 23. We just gonna briefly go through a couple of these feast days. We're gonna start off with the Sabbath, to the new moon, to the blowing of the trumpet, to the Day of Atonement, to the Feast of Tabernacles. We're just gonna deal with those few in the beginning first. So somebody read that in Leviticus 23.
This is the book of
Exodus 31 and 16.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, starting at the top. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord,
Right.
which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
So the feast days is a holy convocation, a holy gathering, right? Ain't that what our people do anyway? They go out and gather into all of these other holidays, no problem.
No problem.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, right? But when we say we keep our feast days, we love keeping them, then you got brothers, you ain't got to do that. Why y'all doing that? That's the laws of Moses. Why y'all, that's Mosaic laws, them laws done away. Why y'all doing those things, right? But brothers always kind of try to come and correct us about what we doing, making videos. But do they ever go to the Jewish man, the so-called Edomite man that say he got to keep all the laws, he keep the Sabbath day, he keep all the feast days. They don't never go in and say nothing about them fake Jews.
Never.
They don't never. They always try to come to y'all brothers keeping the law, y'all going off. But they don't never make a video and say, hey, you Jewish people, you Jew man, let me show you, you ain't got to keep the Torah. Because the Jews believe in the Torah only. They don't even believe in the New Testament. Most of them don't even believe in the Messiah at all. But our people like to come to us and check us and correct us about keeping the law. But they don't never go to the fake Jewish man. They don't say two words.
Not one.
They make all kind of videos about us, right? So concerning the feast, go ahead, Mara.
Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done.
So this going into the Sabbath, right? Go ahead.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation.
A holy convocation, man. Oh, this in the law. Don't do it no more. Go ahead.
Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
That's it on that. Now go to Exodus chapter 31 and verse 16. And look that up right here on it, because I want you to pull that word up. Look that up on the blue letter real quick. Pull that up.
What word?
We're going to go into it. Just pull it up on the blue letter, and then I'll tell you what word he going to read going to the, probably going to be a perpetual covenant. We're going to go into that word perpetual covenant. Right. Go ahead and read it, brother.
We'll start at 15 or 16.
You can start at 15. You can go up one to get a little bit of context.
Exodus chapter 31 and verse 15. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest.
Right, because we know even the Sabbath day, the Most High, he did it himself. He gave an example in Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 on down. Right? But people say it wasn't never no commandments in the beginning. Okay, why he establishing it? Right? It's in Exodus 31 and 16. Go ahead.
Holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
Right, because we know in the laws of liberty or of grace, you won't get put to death. Because if we wasn't under grace today, a lot of people would be put to death according to this law. Right? But do we make void the law? No. Go ahead.
Wherefore, the children of Israel.
The who?
The children of Israel.
The children of Israel. You so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. We done proved it 100 times who Israelites are. We don't have to even go into that no more. Go ahead.
Shall keep the Sabbath.
They shall do what?
Shall keep the
You
Sabbath.
shall keep the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
To observe the Sabbath throughout their generations.
Throughout your generation. Look up that word. Go ahead.
For a perpetual covenant.
Stop right there.
Which word am I looking up? Perpetual?
Perpetual covenant. Perpetual. Just look up the word perpetual.
Perpetual, Hebrews 57:69. Olam.
Ask them brothers on there as we get an echo in the background.
Hey, you guys hear echo in the background?
I hear echo, man. Put a 1 in the chat.
You good.
All right, bro. So we're going to look up that word perpetual.
Perpetual, Hebrews H 57:69, which is Olam, which means long duration antiquity, futurity, forever, ever, everlasting,
Hold on.
evermore.
That's the part I want. Because a lot of people say when they say forever, it just mean a period of time. Forever just mean a period of time. Then it's over with. But this one going saying forever, ever, everlasting, evermore. So it's putting emphasis on it, right? It's putting emphasis on it. That's saying, hey, it's forever. It's perpetual. I mean, it's never going to end, right? Any more on that definition that we can use?
Perpetual, old, ancient, world, ancient, always, continuous existence,
Continuous,
indefinite,
indefinite.
eternity,
What?
eternity.
Eternity. That means forever, man. Eternity. That means it ain't gonna never end,
John.
right? That's enough on that. Go ahead. Go back into the scripture. Perpetual covenant. Go ahead. 17.
Verse 17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel.
Right. It's a sign between us, the children of Israel. So if the other nations don't keep the Sabbath day, so whoop-de-doo. Go ahead.
Forever.
Forever. Go ahead.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth,
Isaiah 66 and 20.
and on the seventh day he rested
Even the Lord kept it himself
and was refreshed.
and was refreshed. That's it on that. Let's go to Isaiah, because we see that the Lord don't change. We see Isaiah 66. We don't even have to get it. 66 and 22, where it say the Lord in the kingdom of heaven, we're gonna be keeping the Sabbath and new moons. So if it's perpetual, everlasting, always going on, that means from here and in the kingdom. That means this ain't gonna never end. It ain't gonna never end, right? This ain't gonna never end, right? So we got that established. So I'm gonna go into give me James real quick. With it, James 2. Let's go into James 2, because we always go into this all the time. All the time. And then give me James 1 and 25, somebody. Give me James 2 and 14.
James chapter 2, verse 14. What doeth it profit, my brother, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him?
Hold on, that ain't what I want. Okay. Hold on. James 2, when no. It's, bear with me 1 minute. Start at 9.
39.
2 and 9.
James chapter 2 and verse 9.
Start at verse 8.
Verse 8. If ye fulfill the royal law according to the scriptures,
the royal law according to the scriptures, go ahead.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor.
Right, because this is what Christ was bringing out in Matthew, 16, 19. Go ahead.
As thyself, ye do well. But if ye have respect to person,
right,
ye commit sin.
Right, because even when brothers go to Acts or these different scriptures saying about respect of persons, this show you just talking about your neighbor, your fellow Israelite. Go ahead.
And
pull it back so I can see that.
And are convinced of the law as transgressors. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all.
Right, because we go to this scripture all the time. All the time. Y'all brothers want to keep the whole law. You got to keep it all. Can't break none.
No.
You got to do the sacrificial laws. You got to do everything. Right? We do that and avoid the laws of these days, because people going to take this and say, you ain't got to keep no feast days. Right? The Israelites do. Go ahead.
For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now, if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law.
Right. So if you got to keep the law, you got to keep the whole law blamelessly. because you're gonna be judged by the whole law that you kept. Go ahead.
So speak ye, and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty.
Shall be judged by the what?
The law of
We're gonna
liberty.
be judged by the law of liberty, keeping the law, but keeping it with grace. With grace. Because we can't keep the whole law.
Come.
Some things we can keep, some things we can't keep. And we're gonna show you that all the apostles and all of them kept it. Right? Go to 1 and 25, James 1:25. Then give me Psalms 119 and 44. Because there's a plethora of scriptures that we can go to to show that Paul kept feast days, Sabbath days, Nazarite vows. He did sacrifice in Acts 21. Right? Go ahead, read that.
James chapter 1 and verse 25.
Read, brother.
But whoso looketh unto the perfect law of liberty
The perfect law of liberty. Go ahead.
and continue therein,
That's what we under. That's what I'm under. I don't know what y'all under. I'm under the laws of liberty. Go ahead.
he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed.
You hear that? You got to be a doer of the work, man. A lot of brothers say we ain't got to keep no commandments. We ain't got to keep no laws. They ain't doing nothing. They don't do nothing. They don't keep no feast days. They don't keep no Sabbath days. They don't do nothing. They ain't doing no work. They don't go out to the highways. They don't do nothing. They don't want to do nothing. It's just convenient that way that you can put Christ in front of everything and say, Christ cover me for everything that I got to do.
Bring it out.
Christ covered that. Oh, I ain't got to do that. Christ covered that. Christ covered that. I ain't got to do that. Christ covered me from doing that. Right? That's what a lot of brothers say. So read that in Psalms 119, verse 44. Let's see what James getting all this stuff from. This something that was new on the scene, or did David didn't know about this? Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 44. So shall I keep thy law continually.
What did David say?
So shall I keep thy law continually.
David says, so shall we keep the law continually. Go ahead.
Forever and ever.
For what?
Forever and
So
ever.
that's putting emphasis on it again. Everlasting. Go ahead.
And I will walk at liberty.
You will walk at what?
At liberty.
At walk at liberty. The same thing that James saying. Same thing. Go ahead.
For I seek thy precepts.
Right. That's it on that. That's it on that. That's what we walk in liberty, man. We walk in liberty. Give me Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. We walk in liberty. And Paul know, because a lot of people thought Paul was saying in the book of Galatians and Romans and Ephesians and all these things that we ain't got to keep no law. Read that real quick.
Romans chapter 6 and verse 1.
Let's see what Paul said. The one said we don't have to keep no law. Go ahead.
What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound?
That we're under the laws of liberty, right? Go ahead.
God forbid.
God forbid. Go ahead.
How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein?
Right. If you dead to sin, how you gonna live longer therein? If you dead to sin, that means you ain't got to keep no commandments. You dead to sin. How can you live therein? Go ahead. Keep going on that.
Know ye not that so many of us as were baptized into Jesus Christ were baptized unto his death.
And was baptized unto a death. Now jump to verse 23.
Verse 23. For the wages of sin is death.
For the wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is death. In the same chapter.
Same chapter.
The wages of sin is death. Right? Give me Hebrews 10:26 real quick. We're gonna go back to these feast days. You do whatever you want to do. Make your own decision, do your own study, do whatever. I ain't trying to tell you which way to go. I'm just telling you what the precept's saying.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully,
If we do what?
if we sin willfully,
If we sin willfully, go ahead.
after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
Right. So if you want to break the laws willfully, right, the wages of sin is death. Right. Right. But you got to try to keep. We can't keep them all. We got to keep them to the best of our ability. Because a lot of people say Judges 11:5 say when we rehearse the righteous act, they say that ain't what it's talking about. It ain't talking about that. Let me give you an example. If we getting set up for the kingdom of heaven, we getting ourselves set up, prepped to be worshiped in the kingdom of heaven. And we know in the kingdom of heaven, it's telling you we're going to keep new moons, we're going to keep Sabbath day, we're going to keep tabernacles, we're going to keep all these days in the kingdom, Passover, all these things being kept in the kingdom of heaven. But when we say we got to rehearse it, if you don't rehearse it, how you going to know how to do it?
Bring it out.
If you don't rehearse the righteous act, how you gonna know how to do it? You never kept the tabernacle, but in the kingdom, you got to do it. In the kingdom of heaven, you got to do it. You got to keep it no matter what. Because the Most High said, give me that Zechariah 14 and verse 12, Isaiah 66. So we're gonna prove all things, bro. If you don't know how to do it, how you gonna keep it? If the laws of keeping the Feast of Tabernacles on your heart, you automatically know how to do it because it's on your heart. Right? Read that.
Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord shall. No, I don't think that's what you said. Zechariah.
Yeah, 14. I think it's 12.
14, 12.
Yep. Read that.
Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. And this shall
Read
be
16.
Huh?
16.
12 and 16.
14 and 16. Just jump there. Jump to 16.
Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 16. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So we worship in the Lord, right? And we keep in the Feast of Tabernacles.
So
we're going to go up to worship the King. Now you read what you got.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 22. For as the new heavens and the new earth,
It's in the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord.
Right, saith the Lord. Right. So we know we got new moons, right? The feast of new moons coming up. Them are days to establish the days of the so-called feast days. The new moon. We got classes on it. We ain't gonna even go into that. You keep the full moon, all praise. You keep the slitter, whatever. You keep the dark moon, hey, that's your understanding of whatever, you know. So we ain't gonna even go on there. We got classes on that. You want to watch them? You can watch them on this channel or Street Wars. No cap Street Wars. Right? So we're gonna go skip over the new moon. We got the Sabbath, the new moon. So let's go into the feast of blowing up the trumpets. Read that Leviticus 23. 23.
Leviticus
Numbers 10 and 1.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 23. And the Lord speaking to Moses, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month.
Right. So we got the 7th month coming up on September 25th. So that's the first day of the 7th month. Right. Today at the what? 17th? So in a few days, if you watching the cycle of the moon, the 25th would be the dark moon. Right. Go ahead.
Shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of the blowing of trumpets.
Right. So on the 7th month, the new moon, that same day as the new moon is the feast of blowing of the trumpets on the 7th month. Right. Go ahead.
And holy convocation.
It's a what?
A holy convocation.
It's a holy convocation. So brothers need to be getting together, celebrating that day. That means a huge gathering, a holy convocation. That don't mean just sit at the crib with a bag of potato chips and get you a glass of wine.
Con,
That's talking about getting together with your brothers and sisters.
con.
We supposed to be getting together. I think we going to the park. I got to get the address. Y'all brothers know cap. Y'all know the address where we gonna be at. So we getting together for the new moon,
Con.
right? So give me that in Numbers chapter 10 and start at verse 1.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 10, starting at the top. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of an whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly.
Right, the calling of the assembly. That's what they did. Certain things they would blow the trumpet. They would blow the trumpet when they seen the cycle of the moon, the new moon, right? They would blow the trumpet when it was time for war. That's why when we out the camp, we blow the trumpet sometimes. Say, Mahar, blow that trumpet. Because we out there spiritual war out here.
Con.
Right? Go ahead, Mahar.
And for the journeying of the camps. And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And if they blow but with 1 trumpet, then the princes, which are heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee. When ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward. When you blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm.
Right. Go ahead. We don't jump the verse. Yeah, just keep reading all the way to 10.
And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations.
Right. So an ordinance forever throughout your generations. Right. Go ahead.
And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets.
That's what we do when we out the camp. Because we out the war with our own people and the enemy, the oppressor. Go ahead.
And ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
Right. Go ahead.
Also in the day of your gladness,
In the day of your gladness, it's talking about up to date. Go ahead.
and in your solemn days,
And our solemn feast days. Go ahead.
and in the beginning of your
In
months,
the beginning of every month. Go ahead.
ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings.
Right. Because I can hear somebody saying, "Now I guess you're gonna do that too." You got to keep the whole law. Remember, we just went into that. We're under the laws of liberty, man.
Con.
We ain't got no temple standing, ain't no tabernacle standing. Right? But do we make void the law? God forbid. Right? Go ahead.
That they may be to you for a memorial before your God.
Right. Now read Psalms 84.
Psalms chapter 84 and verse 1. How honorable art thou tabernacles, O Lord of hosts! My soul longeth, yea, even fainteth for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh crieth out for the living God.
Right. I don't think that's what I want. Drop that.
Okay.
Right. Drop that. So go back to Leviticus 23. And
23.
yeah, finish where you left off at. I think it was on 24, right?
24.
Right. Go ahead, read that.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath,
Right.
a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Jump to verse 27.
Verse 27. Also, on the 10th day of this 7th month,
So this the 10th day of this 7th month, right? Go ahead.
there shall be a day of atonement.
The day of who?
Atonement.
The day of atonement. Go ahead.
It shall be in holy convocation unto you. and ye shall afflict your souls,
Mhm.
and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Not right there. Because I already know what brother said. We ain't got to keep the days of atonement no more. Them days, why you keeping the day? Why you keeping the days of atonement? You ain't got to do that no more. Right? Why you doing that? You ain't got to keep no days of atonement. Let's see. Let's go to Esther chapter 4 and verse 16. Because even without keeping the day of atonement, y'all brothers should be in prayer and fasting all the time. You should have to wait for the day of atonement to start praying and fasting. Because I know some brothers, they don't pray or fast into the day of atonement. You got a whole year where you can practice the righteous act. So these feast days is to give you a rehearsal of things to do. Rehearsing things to do. You should be in practice of fasting and praying all the time. Right? Let's go to Esther 4 and 16. Hold on, before you go to 4 and 16, let's get a little bit of context to see what was going on. Because we want to know why she was fasting. Because Esther was fasting because that Mordecai, right? Right, they was being afflicted, right? So she came out and let me see what I wanted. It might be in Esther chapter 3. See if we can help me out with her.
What was that?
Esther was fasting for the affliction of her people. They jumped to 3 and 11. Esther 3 and 11. Then we're going to try to get to the point. Read that when you got it. 3 and 11.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 11. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written, according to all that Haman had commanded, unto the king's lieutenants and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by posts into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews.
To do what? Cause to perish and to kill all the Jews. That's what they was doing, right? We know, if you know the whole story of Esther, right? They was looking for, I guess they was going around looking for, the king needed a new queen. So they was going around and her uncle suggested she should do it. They kind of like take the pressure off the people, the Israelites, right? They wasn't even in their land. They wasn't in Jerusalem, right? So it wasn't permitted for a woman to come up and speak to the king at all, period. If you were the woman, you came out of order and talked to the king, you was put to death. But Esther knew she had to go up and tell the king, right? So she asked all of Israel, let's pray, let's fast. So when I do this thing, that the Most High can deliver us, right? So let's jump to chapter 4. And let's start at verse 3.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 4 and verse 3. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
Right, because that's how they would fast. They would use sackcloth, right? But they would fast, all right? Go ahead.
So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai and to take away the sackcloth from him, but he received it not.
Go ahead.
then called Esther for Hatak, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So Hatak went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them.
Right.
Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him,
So she should go into the king, right, and try to talk to the king. Go ahead.
and to make request before him,
And do what?
and to make request before
Make a
him
request to the king. Go ahead.
for her people,
For who?
for her people.
How many women gonna do that? You're gonna die for your people. All throughout the Bible, we see Israelites die for keeping commandments. We see in the book of Maccabees, the seventh chapter, these 7 sons or whatever, the son, they didn't eat no pork. But somehow today in 22, we can eat pork. And it ain't no big deal. But we got people back in ancient time died for that stuff. So you can be here, but you say, oh, we can eat pork. But that's another subject. Keep going.
And Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Esther spake unto Hatak, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his.
Hold on. If he didn't call you to come up there to talk to him, and you do it out of order, there was a law, right? If you did it, because that's what she was going to do. She's going to talk to the king without him calling for her. Go ahead.
There is one law of his to put him to death.
If you do that, you would do what?
There's one law of his to put him to death.
Put him to death. If you do that, right? Go ahead.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not been called to come in unto the king
Right. Esther wasn't called to talk to the king. Go ahead.
these 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And they told to Mordecai Esther's words.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time,
Right. If you don't say nothing, Esther, at this time, go ahead.
then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
Mm-hmm.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
Go ahead.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Go ahead.
Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer.
You told her this. Go ahead.
Go gather together all the Jews.
Go gather all the Jews, all our people. That's what we try to do when we out on the highways. Go ahead.
That are present in Shushan,
Mm-hmm.
and fast ye for me.
Do what?
Fast ye for me.
And that's what we do all the time. We should be in continual fasting for our people, man, because we totally being afflicted
So,
all the time. His brothers would just fast at least once a month. It wouldn't even hurt you. Pray to the Most High, fast out, and ask him for the deliverance of your people, man. You know, it shouldn't be just on the Day of Atonement when the feast day is coming up, right? You should be fasting for your people all the time. The more we do these things, the quicker we get up out of here, the less our captivity, right? The less affliction we will be under, right? Go ahead.
And neither eat nor drink 3
When you fast,
days.
You got to do what?
And neither eat nor drink 3 days.
They did it for 3 days. The Day of Atonement did just from evening to evening. 1 day, 24-hour period. Christ fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Brothers, oh man, I'm fasting. I'm hungry. Y'all get into these captivities and get comfortable, man. Y'all got comfortable in Egypt. Now you comfortable in spiritual Egypt. You got to do it. They did it for 3 days, man. They did not eat nor drink for 3 days or 3 nights. Go ahead, Mahar.
Night or day, I also am, and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
If she do what? She perish, she perish. She doing it for her people, man. She's putting her life on the line for her people. For her people, right? Drop that. So that's just an example that we showing. When you fast, don't be sitting there talking about you about to eat and drink some water and pop a mint in your mouth and chew some bubble gum. We just read it's for afflicting your soul. How do you afflict your soul? You afflict your soul by not feeding it. You afflict your soul by praying in prayer. You give up all the little stuff that you're doing all day. Put the PlayStation down, put the Nintendo to the side, put your little cell phone, get off Facebook. Can't do it for 24 hours. We got people that want to say they're keeping a day of atonement or fasting. They all up on Facebook trying to kill time. I'm trying to kill time on Facebook. Look at that. If you want to do something, go out and pass out some flyers. Go out and minister to your people. If you're going to be on Facebook, do a class. Don't be on Facebook. Oh, I like it. I like this. Look, I like them Jordans. They coming out April 19th. You wasting time, man. That ain't a sincere fast. A lot of people fast, but they don't do it sincerely. They do it just to pass time. They do anything. They outside doing a push-up, jump rope, doing all kind of crazy stuff, man. Anytime you fast, man, you're supposed to be in meditation and then in prayer. Going to your little secret place and pray to the Most High. Christ, he went to the Mount Olives and he stayed on the top and he prayed that whole day, all day and all night. He prayed so long after the Passover. When he came down, the disciples would sleep. Right? Read that in Romans real quick. 15 and 4. Why we do these things too?
Romans chapter 15 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
For whatsoever things were written oft time were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Right. Through the scriptures, we might have hope. That's why we do it, because we see what our forefathers did and the mistakes they made, or some of the good things they did, and we learn from those good things and we learn from those mistakes. But you got brothers say, oh, the Old Testament done away with. We ain't got what you reading the Old Testament for, man. We got all kind of prophecies in the Old Testament. They ain't even came to pass. And we got all kind of examples for us to learn from not to do. But sometimes y'all want to take the whole book and just read this little end part with about this many pages, but you want to take the majority of the book and throw it in the garbage. You got to learn through patience, like the old things that they did, so we might have hope. Right? So let's get a couple more scriptures on the Day of Atonement. Go to Isaiah 58 and 3. And then go to Matthew 6 and 16. It's a bunch of scriptures we can go through on the Day of Atonement. We ain't gonna go through all of them. You know, it's a holy convocation. You know, you can get together. A lot of brothers on the Day of Atonement, they get together and they just like we do. They might hold camp, pass out flyers. Some brothers might just stay at home and pray or stay in meditation. So we got, I believe the Day of Atonement is October the 4th. Y'all know the calendar that we got? Look it up. Yep. So go ahead and read that Isaiah 58 and 3.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not?
Uh-huh.
Wherefore have we afflicted our soul?
So when you fast, you're supposed to afflict your soul. So I'm just giving people like some advice. Before you fast, before you take a day on atonement, before the evening come, hey, drink some water. Get your body. Don't be ignorant. Because that's what our people are. They ignorant. They don't do things the right way. Then when they fast, now we got to rush this dude to the hospital because now he passed out. He outside in the hot sun. It's out here in Florida. It's over 90 some degrees every day. You can go out there and pass out if you don't drink water. So you talking about you gonna get ready to afflict your soul? You got to be prepared. You got to be wise. You got to use wisdom. You got to eat a lot of fruit. Don't be sitting there eating no donuts and no cupcakes and all that stuff. You want to get stuff that's gonna keep liquid in your body, like watermelon, cantaloupe. You want to eat a lot of fruit that soaks a lot of water inside your system, so you don't get dehydrated. Drink a lot of water too. Drink a lot of water. Be prepared for that day. Don't be sitting there twiddling your fingers, playing Nintendo, or sitting there eating something that's gonna suck up all that water, like some cake or something like that. That's gonna get you dehydrated. Don't do that. Make sure you use wisdom. Right? Any more on that, Mahar?
And thou takest no knowledge.
Right. That's what it's saying. Don't take no knowledge because you fasted wrong. Go ahead.
Behold, in the day of your fast you find pleasure.
Right. You're supposed to find pleasure because you're doing it for a reason. Because when you fasting and you praying, the Most High take you more serious. That's why a lot of brothers' blessings and their prayers just don't be answered. Because they might just go in the little secret place and say a prayer and that's it. You want to do more. That's what they were doing. That's why they were putting on that sackcloth on there, that itchy material. Because it itch, you can sit there and be like, oh man. If you can take that, the Most High gonna take you more serious. You're afflicting your soul by praying and fasting. The Most High can hear your prayers a little bit better. But if you just sitting there prayer, we're not saying that you're supposed to be praying 3 times a day or more. Right? Daniel prayed 3 times to the east. Right? That's what these Ishmaelites get that prayer for. They want to pray 5 or 6 times a day. They get all their stuff from us. No eating pork. They get all the commandments they learned from us. They want to be better, make the commandments sharper or better. Right? Go ahead, Mara.
And exact all your labors. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate.
Right? You don't fast for strife. You do it willingly. Right? Go ahead.
And to smite with the fist of wickedness.
Right.
Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high.
Right. You make your voice to be heard on high. You want your voice to be heard on high. You want your prayer to be uplifted. You don't want to just say a prayer and say, Lord, I need a job, and go to bed. That's why I'm telling you. That's why a lot of brothers catching hell today, because they not sincere. They just do it because they say, oh, let me do it. I gotta do it. Let me do it. You're supposed to do it sincerely, man. These Muslims, they do everything sincerely to Allah. But when it comes to us, we don't do everything sincere. We got to do it sincerely. Brother you should be doing the fast at least once a month, twice a month, whatever you can do. And plus, when you fast, it helps out the body because it detox the body from all the germs. It do that. It's proven. Everything that the Most High tell us do, they can prove it in the science. They tell us wear 100% cotton shirts for a reason, because it's a scientific reason. They tell you don't eat pork, it's for a reason. But when the Most High tell you to do it, it's done away with. We ain't got to do it. But when these scientists say, come stick this in your arm, you go do it. You jump up, oh, I'm scared, let me go do it. But the Most High told you to do something, you won't do it. That's just like the one prophet, the Most High gave him 10 extra years on his life. And then he forsake the Most High, tried to get all kind of medicine and stuff. The Most High killed him, man. Because you didn't trust in me. Now you're going to your scientist or your little doctor or whatever. I extended your life because you trusted me the first time. Right? Any more on that, Mahar?
Yeah, I can still keep going.
Keep going.
Is it such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul, Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke?
Right. So it's benefits in fasting. So read that in First Corinthians real quick. And give me the scripture where it says, examine yourself. First Corinthians 7 and start at verse 3.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 3. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Right. We getting to the point on this too. Go ahead.
The wife have not power over her own body.
Right. Because when we tell you to fast, not to be lollygagging, not to be messing around, not to be lusting. Right. Go ahead.
But the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power over his own body, but the wife.
Here go the point right here.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer.
Right. So that means when you having your fast and your prayer, you ain't supposed to be talking about, hey, let's get busy, oh my wife. Come on, let's do the do. You got to take it serious. But let me waste time. Maybe I can go do a little workout. Let me go do this. Me and the wife, let's get together. Fasting and praying. Hey man, you got to take it serious, bro.
Come.
You can't have that dirty mindset, man. You got to cleanse all the wickedness away. Right? So read that, my heart. Examine yourself. That's what you should be doing. You should be examining yourself. What can I do to serve the Most High or Christ better? Right? Go ahead.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 28. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body.
Right. So examine yourself that day. Do some examining of your own self. Examine what can you do to make your life better with the Most High. Go ahead.
This is in the book of Sirach, chapter 18 and verse 20. Before judgment, examine thyself.
Before judgment, you got to examine yourself. Go ahead.
And in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy.
In the day when Christ comes back, you're going to find mercy. Because you're doing taking all the acceptable steps. Right? So read that in Ephesians 4 and 22.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversations, the old man, which is corrupt.
Right. Put away that old man, that corrupt dude. Put that dude and bury him. Right. Go ahead.
Which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust.
Right. Because that's deceitful lust. That's why we fast. Because what we want to do when we fast, we want to put away all former things. Who's going to help you put away the former things but the Most High? He the only one that can do that. How you do it? By fasting and praying. A lot of brothers like to try to do everything on their own. They want to do everything on their own because we men. We ain't got no emotion. I don't cry. What I'm crying for? Well, I don't need to talk to another man about my business. That's what brothers always say. Why I gotta talk to this? I gotta talk to the elder. Hell with him. I ain't gotta tell him about what go on in my house. This is my house. This is my business. How you gonna get some help if you don't examine yourself? Put away that old man, all that stuff you learned, that gang banging, that thug mentality. Come on, bro, put that stuff away. Right.
I have another one too.
Go ahead. Keep reading, Paul. Then you can read that. Jump to verse 31, Paul.
Verse 31?
Yeah, read 31 and 32.
Verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking, but put away from you while all malice.
Right. Put away all malice, man. Put all that away when you getting ready to fast. And then sometimes it don't make it no better when you're in the middle of the fast. Then you got your wife nagging, talking about some dirty dishes or cleaning up or something. Come on, baby. We got to fast now.
Come.
Then on the Sabbath, you can't be bringing all these burdens in on the Sabbath. When we got the Sabbath, hey, you want to talk to me about something? Talk to me when the sun go down.
Come.
Don't be trying to come on the Sabbath talking about, hey, we got to talk and do this, and then you put your dishes over here. Come on now. No burdens on the Sabbath. Right? Read that precept, bro.
Yeah, I think this was the one that you was looking for. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Examine yourselves,
Matthew 6:16.
whether ye be in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
Prove your own selves.
Right, you got to prove your own self because you ain't proving nothing to me. Prove your own self, brothers. Right? Go ahead.
Know ye not your own selves?
Don't you know your own self? Don't you know when you're wicked? Don't you know when you commit sin? Don't you know these things? You got to examine yourself. Because like we say, everything that what it say, anything that's hidden in the dark gonna come out to the light. Anything you got in the closet, it's gonna come out anyway. Anything you do, if I don't catch you doing it, the Most High, He sees eyes 10 times brighter than the sun. So you ain't getting away. Ain't no getting out of it. Right? Go ahead, bro. Maha.
How that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates.
Right. You don't want to be a reprobate. Because a lot of brothers got that reprobate mind on them today. Because these are the steps they don't take. Because they say, we ain't got to do that no more. Now you got a reprobate mind. Right? Go ahead.
That was the end of that one.
That's the end of that. Go ahead. Paul. Hey, look at in the book of Daniel, the watchers. Watchers. They ain't got that written down, but I want that precept about the watchers. Go ahead, Paul.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrite.
When you fast, and don't be like the hypocrites, right? He's going to explain what the hypocrites do when they fast. Go ahead.
Of a sad continuance.
Right. They countenance, they all sad. They try to be seen. Oh man, look at me. I'm fasting for the Most High. You ain't got to brag about what you're doing for the Most High. When your brothers out there in the street, brothers be bragging. I do the work. What y'all doing? You ain't doing nothing. I'm out here doing the work. I'm making classes. I always braggadocious guy. You ain't proving nothing to me by going out here and do the work. When you do the work, that's only for you. You doing that on your own. You're going to get a reward for your work.
John.
I shouldn't be having to call brothers on the phone. Brothers, you coming out the camp? Hey, you don't want to come? Don't come. You got brothers that was in the camp. Now they gone. They don't do no more work. They ain't out here doing nothing. They ain't putting in no work. They ain't doing nothing no more. They sitting on the couch, whatever they doing. We ain't going to worry about it. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep moving.
That's right.
Right? So go ahead.
For they disfigure their faces.
Right. They disfigure their faces. Oh, man, look at me. I'm so hungry, but I'm doing it for the Lord. Go ahead.
That they may appear unto men to fast.
Right. They want to see everybody know they fast. You ain't got to go online to tell people you fasting all the time. When we doing a fast for the nation, that's for the whole nation. And we should be doing that more often. We should be fasting more for the nation. Sometimes brothers will put up there, hey, it's going to be a nationwide fast. Let's all do it. That's fine, but we should keep it going. We should at least do it once a month. Keep it going. Don't just do it on one day, then 6 months, 7 months go by, then somebody about to pass away or something, then we want to do it for the brother. Let's do it every month. We should be doing a nationwide fast every month. We should pick on every this we should do a fast for the nation. Not just wait for the Day of Atonement come, because some brothers only fast that the Day of Atonement. That's it. They don't do it no more. That's it. We ought to fast at least once a month or twice a month or more, whatever you can endure. If you can do it for 1 day, 1.5, keep it going. Whatever you can do, whatever the Most High put on your spirit to do, right? Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
Right. They got their reward. Go ahead. That's it on that. Go to that in Daniel. Because when you fast and pray, we're going to show you that these angels, they call the watchers, they present your prayer to the Lord. When you sitting there saying your prayer, they present your prayer. They like your attorney, your defense attorney. They sitting there, hey, this brother sitting here, he got a prayer. Let me present it to the Lord. All right, go ahead and read that.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 4 and verse 13. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and an holy one come down from heaven.
Right, these the angels. They call the watchers. Because what these angels do, they watch everything you do. Everything you doing, you think you just sitting there getting away with it. When that angel got his little notebook and pad sitting there, oh, okay, he over here doing this today. Okay. This dude said he was in the truth, but he over here at the strip club or something, right? Go ahead.
He cried aloud and said thus, hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven. And let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers,
right,
and the demand by the word of the holy ones.
This is a commandment by the Holy One. Go ahead.
To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will.
Right. So when you fast and pray, he gonna do whatever he will to the what that part say about the living of men. Go ahead.
To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will.
He's gonna give whatever he want to whoever he want to give it to. The most faithful. Go ahead.
And setteth up over it the beasts, the basest of men.
Right. He gonna give it to the bases of men. You could be a base man and he can answer your deliver your prayer. That's why a lot of brothers' prayers don't get heard. Now y'all brothers always wonder why y'all going through so much hell. Y'all wonder why y'all always in torment. Why your bills ain't never being paid. Why you can't never do this. You about to get evicted. Y'all never know why. Because y'all ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You ain't examining yourself. You ain't fasting. You ain't praying. You just going out to camp. That's what brothers think this thing about. Going out to camp saying the white man the devil. That's what you in this thing for. You didn't get in this sincerely. You seen the video, the white man the devil. Oh shit, she said that. Oh shoot, I gotta join them. I mean, I can go on YouTube and say these and talk about these white people all the time. That's why a lot of brothers come in the truth. They don't come here to do nothing else. They don't come here. They wanted to say the white man, the devil, we get in the kingdom, we rule forever and ever. That's fine, which is true. We ain't saying that ain't true. But you gotta learn how to love your brothers, be in sincerity and in truth too. Learn how to be a husband, all that stuff count. Not just saying the white man the devil, then on the side, you the damn devil. Quiet in the dark, you the devil too.
Bring it out,
You on the street, the white man the devil, he oppressing us. Then you go home, you a damn devil. Don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. Brothers wonder why they blessings and stuff don't be heard. Right? So that's the Day of Atonement. And let me get a couple scriptures real quick. Give me Joshua chapter 5 and give me Tobit 2. Before we get there, let's go to Acts 27 and 9. And we're going to show you that even the Apostle Paul even fasted. He even fasted. Right? So all of these feast days, it has a special meaning to the Lord. They all mean something. The Passover, it means something. The lamb, right? The tabernacles, the second wilderness. All of these things got a meaning towards it. But if you say, hey, you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Do whatever you want to do. It don't bother me. But brothers always coming down on us or these Christians because we keep the commandments of the Most High. But they, like I say, they don't go say nothing to the Jewish man. They don't go call him one time. Y'all say he the real Jew. Go get on him. They don't go say nothing about the Jewish man on that. They sitting up there all the time on Facebook talking about their brother because he keep the commandment, but won't say nothing about the fake Jew. Right? Read that in Joshua 5.
So Joshua 5 and what?
And 10. And then give me Tobit 2 and 1.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 5 and verse 10. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal.
So this the children of Israel. Where they at?
In Gilgal.
They ain't in their land. Because then we got the problem where people say, we ain't in our land. We can't do that. The tabernacle ain't set up. We ain't in Jerusalem. Then where?
In Gilgal.
Go ahead.
And kept the
And they
Passover.
did what?
Kept the
They
Passover.
kept the Passover. They wasn't in the land. Daniel kept feast days and he wasn't in Babylon. He kept the Sabbath and all of that in the land of Babylon. Right? Christ and them kept all the feast days too. Right? Go ahead.
On the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho. Keep going.
That's it on that. Now read Tobit 2 and 1.
Tobit chapter 2. You said 2 and 1? 10 and 1.
Yeah, 2 and 1.
Okay.
Hey, give me Acts 27 and 9.
Yep, I'm there.
Tobit chapter 2 and verse 1. Now, when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobit in the feast of Pentecost,
They kept the feast of Pentecost. They wasn't in the land. Go ahead.
which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks. There was a good dinner prepared me, in the which I sat down to eat.
Right. So they wasn't in the land and they still kept the Pentecost. They sat down and they enjoyed the day. They kept the feast of Pentecost. Oh, we can't keep that. Because you got to go to Jerusalem. You got to keep the 3 feasts in Jerusalem. So we got to travel to Jerusalem. We got to go way out to Jerusalem. So if you ain't keeping it by going out to Jerusalem, you going off, brother. Well, we see Tobit, if he going off. If he going off, he came home with his wife Anna, and they sat down and kept the feast. Right? So read that in Acts 27. We're gonna go to a couple of these scriptures on Paul. Go ahead.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 27 and verse 9. Now, when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous, because the fast was now already past.
What?
Because the fast was now already past.
Right. And we believe this was the Day of Atonement. This was Paul. The fast. When they talk about the fast, it passed. What it mean? Because you can fast anytime. If this is a certain fast and it passed, it's had to be the Day of Atonement. But we know brothers say, it don't say the Day of Atonement. So how you gonna say that, brother? They want the Bible to say every word. Word from word. If it don't say a word for word, we ain't got to do it. It don't say that though. It ain't saying that word from word. You got to use wisdom, man. Go ahead.
That was the end of that.
Right, that's the end of that. That's the end of that. So let's skip over that. Let's go to Tabernacles, I believe. Let's get a little bit on the Feast of Tabernacles real quick. Hold on, let me make sure I ain't got no more on this fast. So you should on the Day of Atonement, fasting and prayer. We went into it. Keep, if you're gonna keep it in sincere and in truth. Don't be out trying to waste time talking about you going to the gym with the boys and shoot some ball. You're gonna pass out there. The Most High gonna make you pass out. You ain't eating, you ain't drinking, you're gonna pass out. You're gonna be on the bench press, and that thing gonna come down on your neck. So you better do it in sincerity and in truth.
Come.
Then if brothers, like I said, brothers want to go out and do a flyer mission, make sure you drink a lot of water the night before. Eat some watermelon. Get your watermelon, chop it up, get some pineapples, get some stuff that absorbs juice or water in it so it retains it in your body so you don't get dehydrated. You got to use wisdom in this thing. Right? So let's go to the Day of Atonement. I mean, the Feast of Tabernacles. Let's go back to Leviticus real quick. Because all the feast days in the book of Leviticus, right?
Come.
Find that for me, Mahar. The Tabernacles. It's 36, I believe. Oh, hold on. Before we go there, let me get one more precept out. Go to Deuteronomy real quick. I want to get one more thing on the Day of Atonement. Go to 6 and 20. One more precept. Because sometimes what we do too, I done seen this happen before, where people will make a newborn baby or a 1-year-old, 2-year-old baby. That make them keep the Day of Atonement. I done seen that happen before. Little baby need milk. They just like, you keeping the Day of Atonement. 2-year-old, 3-year-old. I done seen it. I'm telling you. I be like, why they making them kids keep the doggone Day of Atonement? Them kids hungry, man. Let's see what the Most High got to say. Deuteronomy 6 and 20. Read that, Paul.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 20.
Uh-huh.
And when the son asks thee in time,
So when your kids come up and ask you in due time, right? Go ahead.
to come, saying, what mean the testimony?
What do this mean by keeping these feasts, the feast?
And the statutes,
Uh-huh.
and the judgments,
What do it mean, Father? Go ahead.
which the Lord our God hath commanded you.
Uh-huh.
Then thou shalt say unto thy son,
You're gonna say to your son, go ahead.
we were Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord showed signs and wonders,
Mm-hmm.
great and sore, upon Egypt, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes.
Right, that's the example. Now read that from the top.
Starting
Start at 20 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 20.
This the point.
And when the son asked thee,
When they do what?
and when the son asked thee,
When they ask you, could they keep the Day of Atonement? Not you forcing it on them. When they get up in age, when they ask you. I done seen people force they keep. You gonna keep the Day of Atonement? Because you, come on, man. This little baby 1 year old. You tell me how he didn't been doing all kind of sin, and he got to examine himself, and he got to go into a prayer and do all this stuff. But you making him keep the Day of Atonement? When they get up in age, when they old enough to understand things, that's when it's time for them. When they come and ask you, Father, what do these things mean? And you say, son, you ready to keep the Day of Atonement? You ready to do this? You ready to serve the Most High? Sometimes kids ask you at a young age. They might ask you at 3. You never know. Sometimes it might till they get 5 or 6. Right? Now let's drop that. Now let's go back to the tabernacles. Now let's get that in Leviticus, where we was at. What I say, 36 or
34.
34. Go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 34.
Uh-huh.
Speak unto the children of Israel,
Mhm.
saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles
Uh-huh.
for 7 days unto the Lord.
Mhm.
On the first day shall be an holy convocation.
Holy convocation. Go ahead.
Ye shall do no servile work therein.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Right. So this is a 7-8 day event. Go ahead.
On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation
Mhm.
unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Mhm.
It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord,
Right.
a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day.
All right, that's it on that. So that just breaks it down because we know some of the feast days is in Leviticus chapter 23. If you want to learn how to keep them, it tell you exactly how to keep them.
John.
It tell you on this day, on this month, on this day. Brothers be sitting there waiting for a brother to write out a calendar. Brother, open up the book on your own and figure it out.
John.
You say on the 7th month. We know the beginning of the month is what? The month of Abib. When you look at the month of Abib, it say around April or March, that new moon.
John.
So you start counting, then you start counting these days till you get all the way till you start counting the feast day. You look at the calendar, it say on this month, the first month on the 14th day. You say, okay, it's the first month. You go on your calendar, you say, boom, 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 boom. Okay, I got to keep the Passover right here. Ain't that hard to do.
John.
That's why the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. Don't go by what man tell you or when a brother tell you the Feast of Tabernacles is and all of this stuff. Because that's what a lot of brothers do. They follow a lot of these camps and they can't even have no understanding. You got brothers that follow IUIC but can't tell me about the full moon. Why you break down the full moon and new moon? They can't do it. Then asking what scripture you use to say the full moon is the new moon. They say Sirach. When Sirach say the dark moon is the full moon, if you look into the Hebrew, or but they don't look and they don't research. They take everything out of context, man. They don't do nothing but take 2 minutes to research, and then you're gonna get the right understanding of the scripture. And then you're gonna follow the right way. But brothers that say, oh, they got 1,000-man march, we're gonna follow them because they look good, they marching, they got on that glitter purple with them big diamonds all over the little thing. That crap ain't gonna get you in the kingdom. We ain't bashing these brothers or nothing. Hey, do whatever you want to do. Follow whoever you want to follow. I don't care if you don't follow me. I don't care. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Brothers want to be seen by men. They want to be in the video. I've been there. I've done that before. I wanted to be in the video. I was doing stuff unsincerely. Trying to get these promotions and all of this stuff, man. The hell with them damn promotions. I don't give a damn about that stuff. I'm serving the Lord.
That's right.
I don't care nothing about no promotion or being seen in the video. You ain't got to see me in no video. I don't care if don't nobody watch this video. This is just edification for the body and for those that want to know how to keep certain feast days that don't know. Right? Hey, let me do Deuteronomy 16 real quick in 16. Let's read that. Deuteronomy 16 and 16.
Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 16.
Yep.
Three times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God.
Right.
In the place which he shall choose. In the feast of unleavened bread.
Feast of unleavened bread.
In the feast of weeks.
The feast of who?
Of weeks.
Hey, give me Exodus chapter 34 and verse 22. Hold that where you got, Paul. Because that's the tabernacle is the feast of weeks. Right? So one of them is the feast days, going into the feast days. Right?
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 34, and verse 22. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks.
Observe the what?
The feast of weeks.
Observe the feast of weeks. Go ahead.
Of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
Right, ingathering. All right, now go back where you was at, Paul.
3 times in a year shall all the males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacle, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Every man shall give as he is able, and according to the blessings of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee.
Right, now go to while we in the book of Deuteronomy, go to Deuteronomy 18 real quick. I believe it's 18 and 18. Yeah, yep.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 18.
This is for all the brothers that say the laws is done away with. Since these laws are done away with, don't do this. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth.
The Most High will put his words in his mouth. Because brothers always say we under the laws of Christ. How you under the laws of Christ when the Most High telling Christ what to do? Christ don't lean on to what he think he's supposed to do. He getting everything he get from the Father. They don't want agreement. They don't want a court. We don't keep the laws, the Mosaic law. Them was never the Mosaic law. These were the laws of the Most High since day one. Because we see Adam and Eve, they were sacrificing. We see all kind of. We ain't gonna even go into that. That's another class. We're gonna do that another day, right? So he shall put my words in his mouth. Go ahead.
And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
All that I shall command him to tell you. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words,
who would not hearken unto these words, the Most High, go ahead,
which he shall speak in my name,
that Yahweh Shai going to speak in his name, right? Go ahead.
I will require it of him.
He going to do what?
I will require it of him.
He gonna require it of you, because people say we ain't got to keep the law. So this is a law to listen what the Christ saying. You say you listen to Christ, you do everything Christ tell you to do, but this is in the law that he telling you to do. So the laws is done away with. So that means you don't have to listen to nothing Christ tell you to do.
Bring it out.
When you say the laws, you ain't got to keep no laws. You going off, because now you ain't got to listen to Christ. This is what you said. I ain't got to listen to nothing Christ saying. It's in the law. Go ahead, read verse 20.
Verse 20. But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak.
Right, by saying the laws is done away with. Go ahead.
Or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die.
Right, he gonna be put to death. Go ahead.
And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the words which the Lord have not spoken?
How you gonna know what the Lord ain't spoke? Go ahead.
When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if thou thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord have not spoken.
Right. If you say a prophecy and it don't come to pass, that means you're a false prophet. That's basically what that's saying. But the point I was trying to get to is say, hey, you got to do what in the law, you got to follow what the Messiah tell you to do. But if you say the laws are done away with, you ain't got to do nothing Christ say tell you to do. Don't that make sense? Or it don't make sense? When you say the laws is done away with, you saying Deuteronomy 18 is done away with. So that means you ain't got to listen to nothing Christ tell you to do.
Bring it out.
That's what it mean to me. Right? That's what it mean to me. That's the way I see it. Right? So go to Deuteronomy 31 and 10.
Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 10.
Deuteronomy 31 is a deep chapter. And brothers should really, to get the understanding of Deuteronomy, man, you got to go into the Hebrew. Once you look up the words, I'm telling you, it'll break down more clear to you. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 10. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the feast of tabernacles, when all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing.
Right. So even back then it was established, right? The Feast of Tabernacles, right? So let's get some more on that. We read Zechariah, where we keeping it in the kingdom. We see that we keeping it in the kingdom, right? Let's go to Nehemiah 8 and 13. We're just gonna get a couple scriptures on that. And then we're gonna go into a couple more scriptures. We're gonna go into some scriptures where y'all say Paul confessed all these things done away with. We ain't gonna get too heavy because that's really another class. I'm gonna bring it out in another class. Right? Go ahead and read that.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 8 and verse 13. And on the second day were gathered together the chief of the fathers of all the people, the priests and the Levites, unto Ezra the scribe, even to understand the words of the law. And they found written in the law what the Lord had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths.
Should dwell in who?
Dwell in booths.
Dwell in booths. That's see. We ain't gotta look it up. In today's layman terms, it's talking about a tent, even though they made this stuff out of twigs and sticks and stuff back then. But we don't have the knowledge to do that, right? Go ahead.
In the feast of the 7th month,
On the 7th month, go ahead.
and that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem,
All your cities and in Jerusalem, go ahead.
saying, Go forth unto the mount, and fetch olive branches and pine branches,
So this is on how they made it back then. They used olive branches. Go ahead.
and myrtle branches, and palm branches, and branches of thick trees to make booths, as it is written.
Right.
So the people, keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Read that and that's it on that.
So the people went forth and brought them and made themselves booths, every one upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of God, and in the street of the water gate, and in
Read
the
all the way to
street
7.
of the gate of Ephraim. And all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths, and sat under the booths. For since the days of Joshua the son of Nun unto that day had not the children of Israel done so, and there was very great gladness.
Right. It was very great gladness. Right. Read John.
John chapter 7 and verse 1. After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Judea, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of tabernacle was at hand. His brothers therefore said unto him, Depart hence, and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see thy works that thou doest.
Right. So we see back in Christ's days that they was still keeping the Feast of Tabernacle. Right. So drop all of that. Drop all of that. Let me see what this scripture. Go to. Did them brothers still on here? But they all fell off.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see something real quick. All right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians real quick. Because we know that the Most High, well, we know Yahweh Shai, he was blamelessly. He kept all the commandments blamelessly, right?
So,
All of them blameless. He even kept all the feast days, whatever. Say what you want, right? Kept Hanukkah feast. He kept it all. John 10:22. He kept the feast days. So go read that in 1 Corinthians 11 and 1.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ.
So this is Paul saying, be followers of me also as I, just like Christ was a follower. I'm a follower. I do everything Christ was doing. Christ kept the Day of Atonement, the feast days, so I'm gonna do it. He kept the Passover. I'm gonna do it. Go ahead.
Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
That's it on that, right? So we got to do like he say. be ye followers of me as I am of Christ. So go to
Sure.
1 Peter 2:21. We just gonna get a couple precepts. We ain't gonna go in depth because we're gonna end this class.
1 Peter
2:21. So he be followers of me as I am of Christ. Let's see what Peter said.
1 Peter 2:21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example.
Leaving us a what?
An example.
Christ left us an example. What was his example? To try to be blameless, right? Keep these feast days, these commandments. Go ahead.
That ye should follow his steps.
You got to do what?
Follow his steps.
No, the commandment's done away with.
Follow his steps.
You got to follow his steps. What Christ was doing. What is going to hurt for you to keep a Passover?
John, nothing.
What is going to do? Oh, you gonna go to hell because you kept the Day of Atonement, you kept the Passover? Oh, we ain't got to do that no more. We ain't got to do no we ain't got to keep no Sabbath day. What's going to kill you? Going to die because you kept the Sabbath day?
Come on, man.
Right? We should follow in his steps, man. We got to follow in his steps. He left us an example that we should follow, man. Read verse 22.
Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth.
Right, so he didn't do no sin. He didn't do no sin. He didn't commit no sin. Right? So let's go to James 8:1. Then we're going to show you what Paul, he did all them things too. We're just going to show you a couple. There's a million scriptures on Paul. Keeping feast days, keeping commandments, doing all kind of stuff.
James doesn't have a chapter 8.
I mean, John 8. John 8. Give me Acts 18:21.
Acts 18:21.
This is the book of John, chapter 8, and verse 1. Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple. And all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned.
So they're bringing out the law of Moses. That in the law of Moses, we should be stoned. Why did Messiah say, we ain't got to do that no more? Go ahead.
But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself, and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord.
Right.
And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
Right. Even though he was blameless. He didn't commit no sin. He could have picked up a rocket. He said, I don't condemn you. Right? So that's showing you that the liberty right there that Christ was given. Right? That shows you that she was under the liberty of Christ, under the grace that he given her. Because anyway, if you keep the law, you got to keep it all. They should have stoned her right there on the spot. Christ should have stoned her on the spot. Because he ain't gonna break no law. He can say, I gotta kill you, lady. Stand up, turn around, let me bust you in the head with this stone. Right? because he didn't commit no sin, right? Read that in Acts 18:21. Then somebody give me I think I want Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1.
Acts chapter 18 and verse 21.
This Paul, the one y'all said, he said we ain't got to keep no laws. Go ahead.
Bade them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast
This is Paul saying he got to keep the feast.
that cometh in Jerusalem.
Right. So even Paul said he got to keep the feast. But y'all say Paul said all the laws are done away with. He ain't got to do nothing. We ain't got to do. Paul said we ain't got to do nothing. What you talking about? We got to keep the feast days for? Paul said them himself. Read Ephesians 2 and 1.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2 and verse 1. And you hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins, where in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
Hey, see if we can get that in another translation. Read that in another translation. It's gonna tell you what it's talking about. See if you can find it in maybe the ESV. That's what the Christians like to use.
Yeah.
We're gonna use their own book. Go ahead.
All right, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, in the, it's still the same thing. It was supposed to be, let me do it again. Ephesians 2, ESV. Why didn't it change? There we go. All right, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, in the ESV.
Mhm.
And you were dead in the trespasses and sins.
Right. You were dead in the trespassing of sin. Sin is the what? Transgression of the law. Right. Go ahead.
In which you were once walked,
Right. We once walked that way in the transgression. Go ahead.
following the course of this world,
Uh-huh. We was following the world because we was keeping all these wicked holidays, Easter, Christmas. We was doing everything in the world. Go ahead.
following the prince of the power of the air,
Mm-hmm.
the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience,
Uh-huh.
among whom we all once lived in the passions of our
We
flesh,
all once lived that way in the passion of our flesh. Right. Go ahead.
carrying out the desires of the body
Mm-hmm.
and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath,
Mm-hmm.
like the rest of mankind.
Mm-hmm. Like the rest of mankind, we separating ourselves from these demons. Go ahead.
But God, being rich in mercy,
He been rich in what?
rich in mercy,
Rich in what?
rich in
There go
mercy,
that grace again. Go ahead.
because of the great love with which he loved us,
Mm-hmm.
even when we were dead in our trespasses,
Even when we was breaking these laws, go ahead.
made us alive together with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
By grace,
By what?
by grace,
By grace. Go ahead.
you have been saved.
I had to close the book. Go on.
Yeah.
By grace, you're gonna be saved. What James told you. Right? But do we void the law that grace may abound? No, we don't. God forbid. We don't. I ain't gonna even go through all of these ones with Paul. We probably do it another day. But like I say, after that, now I'm just gonna close the book unless somebody else want to say something. Because if we went through the feast days, we got them coming up. So hey, enjoy it. It's an enjoyable occasion, man. Then it's something that you can teach the kids because when the kids go to school, they gonna make Halloween pictures, and you're gonna get kids coming up with the costumes on and all of that stuff. And what you telling the teachers, hey, I want my kids involved in that stuff. And they feeling like Why I can't be a part of this? They see kids having fun, playing, eating candy, having fun. They over here sitting in the corner because you told them you ain't can't even be involved with that stuff. Now you ain't teaching them nothing. You ain't showing them no feast days, no nothing. You ain't showing them nothing.
Nothing.
Now they going to school and seeing these kids. Eventually, they gonna fall into the trap with these kids because you ain't showing them no feast days. You ain't showing them nothing. You ain't teaching your kids. All right, let's forget Halloween and all of that stuff. Christmas, they getting gifts. They pulling names out of the basket. They passing out gifts. You ain't get one, but you show your kids. Hey, we got Hanukkah coming up. We got the tabernacles coming up. We got the Passover coming up. You got to show your kids and teach them something. You don't just say we don't do nothing. We don't keep the law, so we don't do nothing. Come on, man. You got to teach your kids something, bro. You wanted to get them out of the worldly thing. People think if you keep a feast day, like it's just gonna kill you. You see brothers all the time. They keeping the Passover, man. Why they do? You always see them on Facebook posting stuff. When we out in our garment, then you see this knucklehead here post. Why you keeping the Passover? You ain't got to do that. Y'all guys still keeping the Mosaic law. Like we doing something wrong.
Bring it out.
Like we really doing something wrong. All we doing is the Passover, commemorating the Lord and what he did for us. You're gonna do it in the kingdom. Somehow, brothers say, they had to do it. Now we ain't gotta do it no more. But then in the kingdom, we doing it back again. Like it just don't make no sense to me. I figure if you do something, you gotta do it. That's just like you going on your job. Right? Say you got a job and your job to be an inspector. Say you work at Forza General Motors or whatever. I don't even know. I'm just making up something. Say you're an inspector and these people putting the parts on the line. We've been doing this for 50 years, putting it together like this. Okay, don't put it together like that no more. Forget the screws and the bolts. Don't put them on there this time. Don't do it no more. What's going to happen? The whole car going to fall apart. Right. We don't do that no more. We don't put bolts on cars no more. We just let the tires fall off the wheel. I got so many scriptures of Paul telling you do these things and keep the law. It's just ridiculous, man. He kept it. He was on trial. He's sacrificing Acts chapter 21. James was riding him. Peter was riding. Right? So them brothers ain't on here no more. So I
got two scriptures.
Go ahead, bring it out, bro.
This is in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 14. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Lord their God. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. Right. That's basically what our people do. They reject the commandments,
right,
and going after the ways of the heathen.
Right. Hey, give me one more. I'm gonna give you one more since you got these precepts flowing. Give me one in Romans 7 and 25. 25.
Romans chapter 7 and verse 25. I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then with the mind, I myself serve the law of God.
So this is Paul. The one you said, he just said we don't have to keep the law. All through the book of Galatians, all through Hebrews, all this stuff, y'all keep saying that we ain't keeping no law. But you got to remember, he's talking about the laws of bondage. Not the laws of liberty, because we was under the laws of bondage. Because if you think about it, we had to do everything without spot or without blemish. When you was getting your lamb, you had to get it without spot or blemish. Then you had to pay for these things. You had to get a bullock, a goat, whatever. It costs a lot of money. That was the bondage part. Go ahead. So Paul said, myself serve the law of God. Go ahead.
But with the flesh, the law of sin.
Right. With the flesh, you serve the law of sin. So, all right, Mahar, we're going to end it right there. We're going on dang 2 hours. Shouldn't even went that long. But we brought out all the feast days from the Sabbath to the new moon, and we brought it up to date what we about to keep now. We about to keep going into the day, September 25th. We're going into the new moon feast, the blowing of the trumpets. And then we got the Day of Atonement coming up on the 4th to the 5th. And then we got Tabernacles coming up the 9th all the way to the 16th. So enjoy it. Do it in gladness. Do it in gladness and not in bitterness because we're going to keep the commandments, right? Do it in gladness, right? With that, we nations and kings and priests, we're going to say shalom.
Shalom.